Right now, the hot topic in real estate is getting more listings, and I know that you are looking for ways to win that listing presentation. I'm Leigh Brown from RE/MAX in Charlotte, North Carolina, and today we're going to take 5 minutes and get some great ideas for knowing your seller before you even walk through the door, which is going to lead you to know them better when you get there and help you get that listing. So the first thing I want y'all to remember is that you have to pick up the phone and call that seller. In fact, if you're lucky, they won't even answer the phone. A seller that does not answer the phone is going to have hopefully a voicemail, and that's going to be some insight into their personality. If their voice sounds like this and it's super bubbly and high energy, they're probably a people person, which means they're not likely to be a detail person. So these are going to be some initial clues that will help you start to craft that listing presentation. If the voicemail is, "This is Bob, leave a message," that's probably a D personality, a driver. That's the kind of person who is not interested in all of your dog and pony show fluff about how great you are, you're number one. They want to know the price of the house, your plan to get it done, and the time frame. So you're going to really change the whole length of your presentation for that person. If the voicemail is, "Hey, I am so glad you called and I hope you're doing wonderful and please leave me a message," that person might be the supportive personality, that S person. They are focused on everybody but themselves, and so they're going to be interested in how you can make the selling process easier. How can you reduce trouble with showings? How can you embrace their family's needs? How can you help them transition smoothly? That presentation is going to be less driven by data and bolts and more by how you can hold their hand throughout the transaction. Again, an entirely different layout to your presentation. If the voicemail is, "Today is Monday, January 14th, and I will be in the office from 9:30 until 9:45, returning from 12:30 to 12:45, that's your clue that you've got a detail-oriented person on the phone, a C personality, maybe an engineer, maybe an accountant. That's the kind of person who also is not interested in the fluff and stuff of your dog and pony marketing show, but is going to want to know market data, market analysis. They don't want to see pictures of comps. They want to know how you made adjustments. Where did you get your data points from? How did they derive value to this particular home? They want to know your stats. They want to know your list price to sales price ratio. They want to know your days on market. That person is going to be making a decision based on the person that answers their need to fill out the spaces in a spreadsheet. So that's your first topic. So now we'll move into the second step, and we're going to talk some real scripts and dialogues here because you've got to ask the right questions. Most agents right now are so anxious for inventory that when the phone rings, they get the address and the time and they jump and run and they don't ask any questions. And we all know from being in this industry that different situations call for different presentations. The seller going through a divorce has different needs than the seller who's pregnant with triplets and trying to move up, or the seller whose mom just died and he's got to handle her estate. So ask these questions at the initial intake. Your take two right here is going to be to ask them a very pertinent question, which is, how do you want me to communicate with you? You're collecting the seller's information during this initial phone interview. What's your cell phone number? Do you text? What's your email address? Now I'm gonna give y'all a little secret. Lean in close because not everybody knows this. The average American changes their email address every 6 months. So when you ask for their email address, they're very likely giving you that spam address that they use to get Publix coupons and get deals for the outlet mall. You need to ask them, which email address do you actually check? Now, your take three is an even better question. When you're asking them about their details on their home, you know, bedrooms, bathrooms, what have you done in the way of upgrades, you're going to ask them, is this your primary residence? What this will uncover for you is some uncomfortable situations. We all know that in dealing with a divorcing couple, the dynamics are so different than they are with newlyweds or happily married people because you're going to have to find common ground for them so that they can move on with life. That's a big game changer in your presentation. So right at that beginning stage, y'all, you've got to ask that, is this your primary residence? Now, there's a secret question too that you're not going to want to ask. So I'm going to tell you, you got to pull the Band-Aid off and do this. This is a huge script for success. You ready? Write it down or rewind and listen again. You're going to ask the seller, what 3 things are you looking for in the realtor who represents you in the sale of this, your largest financial instrument? Because y'all, as realtors, sometimes we forget that we are dealing with somebody's largest financial instrument. We take it a little too lightly. So when you're talking to them, find out those 3 things. Don't be afraid that they're going to ask you for any kind of a change in how you are paid. They don't care about that, because remember, they've called you looking for a professional to help them in this process of selling. What they're going to tell you is they're striving for good communication. Particularly sellers who have been through the ringer with someone else, they need somebody to talk to them, nurture them, hold their hand through this process. They're going to ask you to be an aggressive marketer. What might surprise you is that doesn't mean spending money on things that don't work. They want to know that you care about selling their home. They're looking to know that you are going to give them the first and best at bat on every opportunity that you have. They're also going to ask that you be honest. It's amazing to me that the consumer have to ask for an honest realtor. So be that honest realtor. Say the truthful things even when you know it's not something that's popular. In fact, I'll give you an extra script right here. Before you dig into this, ask that seller, do I have your permission to be honest with you? That's a game changer, because now when you have to talk to them about condition changes, price changes, negative feedback, you can say, look, you gave me permission to be honest with you, and that's what I'm doing right now. That changes your relationship and brings that seller into partnership with you and makes it much less of an adversarial situation. So guys, if you will put some of these into play, you're going to find out that your sellers will trust you more, they're going to tell you more, bring you into a more intimate space in this relationship, which allows you to do an entirely different and better job for that consumer. It leads you to more referrals, more listings, and a much more fulfilling job as the professional realtor in your local marketplace. So I hope this will help you take it into action. When the phone rings next time, you know what to do.